So unless you've been living under a rock for the last week or so, or maybe the last year, Star Trek Picard dropped last night on CBS All Access. Now, I know that there are a lot of people out there who are literally angry that they can't watch this show because they have to pay for it. So otherwise they'll just use other means to go and get it, which kind of blows my mind that they will go through other means to get it. And I don't really need to go into what those other means are. But Picard just blew me away and actually made my subscription fee to CBS All Access well worth it. In many respects, as much as I am enjoying Star Trek Discovery, which I have been glued to ever since it started, Picard literally just blew me away. It is a completely different approach to Star Trek that I truly appreciate. And Picard literally came across as everything that I was hoping for in a new Star Trek, in a new approach to Star Trek. This show is drama. It's not an epic adventure in space, or at least the first episode doesn't present that it's this epic adventure in space. I'm going to get the impression, from what I've seen from episode 1, that Picard is more of a character piece. And whilst there's going to be a lot of excitement and adventure and really wild things up in outer space, the one thing that I can't escape from in this is how Brent Spiner and Picard insisted the show should return, or at least how they would be willing to return to the Star Trek universe. Don't undo Data's death, which I have to admit they did extremely well in this episode. Nothing in this episode or in this season so far has done anything to undo that death. In fact, if anything, I'm starting to see a lot of correlation between the Borg, Locutus, Data's relationship with the Borg, Lal, the episode The Measure of a Man. Nearly everything is culminating into this one episode, into this one storyline, as to not what makes you human, but what makes you alive. And nothing in this episode emphasizes that more than when Captain Picard is finally in the couch. Finally in the couch, because this is really what the episode is about. It's about a man that has literally just given up on everything, given up on his life, given up on everything that he fought for because of a protest, because he was so angry about what the Federation, about what Starfleet did to the Romulans, about them abandoning nearly every principle that he literally fought for all his life. And he did nothing for 20 years. He did nothing for 26 years except feel sorry for himself and sit in a couch just waiting to die. And when this woman comes into her life, and when this woman is finally revealed to be who she is or who she could be, he finds new purpose in life. I really love the fact that they are finally exploring elements of the Borg, elements of Data as a synthetic life form, and how Picard himself related to all those elements in the original series. I mean, let's not forget, Picard himself was a Borg at one point, and for a very brief moment, so was Data. The fact that Data keeps showing up in Picard's dreams as, well, almost as like he's conscious in Picard's dreams, should come as no surprise. Picard and Data are connected in more intimate ways than we could possibly imagine. So it comes as no surprise that his daughter, Daj, would go to a man that his father had tremendous faith in. I guess you could probably tell with this unscripted introduction to the series, I actually love the first episode. It wasn't set in space. It was very grounded. The humanity was very grounded, and I'm starting to see a lot going on in the background. Like in the opening shot with the Enterprise D. How can you, as a nostalgia freak, not love that scene? Now, there are a few problems that I do have with the show, or at least probably one thing that I do have with the show. It doesn't come across as a show for new people. At least at the moment, it doesn't come across as a show in which people who have never experienced Star Trek in their lives could relate to. There's far too much nostalgia going on here for the new fan for a new possible fan to enjoy. And I hope that in later episodes, at least in the next episode, we finally get some kind of instance where newcomers to the franchise can actually appreciate the show for what it is, can actually appreciate the show as Star Trek, or as something that they will just enjoy in passing, like Star Trek was originally meant to be on terrestrial television. I love the cinematic feel that Star Trek is now bringing to the genre. I love the fact that it's pulling away from its original format, its original TV NBC format. I love the show. I don't know how else to put it. And this is completely unscripted, because if you want a more scripted review, that's going to take a little longer. This is my initial reaction to the show. And I love it. There's no getting around it. Later on, I'm going to be throwing in some theories as to what's going on. One thing that really affected me was in the opening scene where Data pulls out 5 queens in his hand. And I'm sure that there's a deeper meaning to 5 queens of hearts in his hands. There's obviously something going on. And if there's one thing you have to remember about Data, is that in one of the episodes, I think it was Fatherhood or Father, Data finally dreams. Data finally gets to dream, which is his next stage of his evolution. And every part of his dreams, whilst not making initial sense, do follow some kind of pattern in his life, do have some inner meaning. And I find it very difficult to believe that Data, being in Picard's dreams, already having a profound effect on the plot as a whole, is just basically randomly there saying, hey, just move yourself on to the next line of the plot. There's something deeper going on here. And I believe that that connection that Picard and Data had to the Borg also had a connection to each other. It's next to impossible now to assume that these two characters are not as intimate as we originally thought. So yeah, that is my initial reaction to Star Trek Picard. I'm actually enjoying it. I actually enjoyed the first episode. I enjoyed an Earth-bound episode with literally no spaceships in it until the very end, and they weren't even Federation spaceships. I'm really looking forward to episode 2, and if the other 9 episodes follow suit, if this remains the drama piece that I'm hoping it will remain, then I'm sure that Picard will become a standout piece, that one standout series that Star Trek so richly deserves since Deep Space Nine. Until next time, ciao.